Coming to you live on this beautiful Saturday from Mexico, just outside Puerto Vallarta. I'm at the Dreams Bahia Mita all-inclusive resort. It's pretty cool. I'm enjoying it. Margot is down by the pool. She's tanning. I've already gotten enough sunshine today. We were surfing earlier this morning. I was swimming out in the ocean, and it is actually my buddy Justin's wedding party this week. He's already gotten married. That was during COVID. They just went down to City Hall, essentially got the paperwork done, but congratulations to Justin and Abby. We're going into town tonight. We're going to have a big celebratory dinner, and we're going to be having some fun from Mexico here for the next few days. But that means that I don't stop, and whenever I have a free few minutes, I continue to go live. So go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, because today we're talking about Jaquiski Tartt, former 49ers safety, was with the team for 7 seasons. He has signed a 1-year contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. So no more Tartt for the 49ers. I know I got so many questions about this over the past several months. Will the 49ers re-sign Jaquiski? I know he was a fan favorite. He was a guy that interacted with people on social media, and obviously a good 49er because he had survived through so many different coaching staffs, so many ups and downs with this team. But he did recently turn 30 years old, and the 49ers are going younger at that safety position. We'll talk about the succession plan in a bit, but I just wanted to discuss some of the comings and goings and some of the ramifications of Jaquiski Tartt officially not returning to the 49ers here for the 2022 season. So Tartt was a 2015 second rounder. That was way back in the dark ages, right? Jim Tomsula was the coach. Trent Baalke was the general manager. I'd say it's a pick that Trent Baalke did decently well with. A 7-year player in the NFL. You can't really ask for much more than that, with the draft being that much of a crapshoot. And Jaquiski Tartt was a solid contributor for the 49ers. Of course, there were injury concerns and injury issues throughout those 7 seasons, but there are a lot of positive memories. And for that, we have to ask, what was Jaquiski Tartt's best play with the 49ers? Well, I have a picture of Jaquiski after a tackle for loss in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs that I just popped open on the screen. I wrote that story with Matt Barrows back in 2020 during the throes of COVID quarantine, when there were trade rumors surrounding Jaquiski Tartt because people thought the 49ers were going to go out and acquire Jamal Adams. Do you remember that offseason? Oh, the 49ers are going to trade for Jamal Adams. Jaquiski Tartt's going to be part of the package, all this, all that. Well, thank God the 49ers didn't do that, because now you see the Seahawks. They're not doing too great after they burned 2 first-round picks on Jamal Adams. And I think the 49ers are happy that they had Jaquiski Tartt here over the past several seasons, because he was a really good, and I'll get into this in a little bit, he was a good silent communicator. Didn't talk all too much or all too loudly, but he had a presence on the field. He was rarely in the wrong spot. He'd miss a tackle here and there, obviously dropped the big interception in the NFC Championship game, would-be interception, I guess I should say, that probably would have changed the course of history for the 49ers. But very, very frequently, Jaquiski Tartt was in the right place at the right time, and he made sure that his teammates were lined up in the right place in the right time. And if you want to talk about highlight reel plays, ones that we'll remember from his time in a 49er uniform, I always think of the one-handed interception in the 2017 season opener against the Carolina Panthers, against Cam Newton. Remember Jaquiski backpedaling, goes up high, catches that ball, brings it in with one arm. I think it was his right arm, if I'm remembering correctly, but it might have been his left. Either way, it was an impressive interception, one of the few highlights in Kyle Shanahan's opening game as the 49ers coach. It was a hot day against Carolina. You fast forward through that 2017 season, what I really noticed, that was my first year covering the 49ers. I'd watched them before, but I covered the team starting there with that week 1, with that training camp. He was just a missile and run support, had a really good feel around tacklers, would be able to use his footwork well in the box to make those stops against the run. So I thought that Jaquiski was a good fit for the 49ers, strong safety position, even though this regime, Robert Saleh and the Seattle-style defense, actually inherited him. And you didn't see the 49ers keep and re-sign a lot of players they inherited. They wanted to bring in their own guys 2017 and beyond. But they inherited Tartt. They also inherited Eric Reed. They didn't keep Eric Reed. They kept Jaquiski Tartt. He stuck around through 2021 because he was good as that box safety in that cover 3 defense, which the 49ers ran a lot of, still run a lot of. Cover 3, though, is, I think, on the decline around the league. But Jaquiski did fit that role well because not only was he decently physical, but he was smart. He was instinctual. He was good with his feet, so he can navigate in close quarters to make those stops against the run. So I remember several kind of missile-like plays against the run at the line of scrimmage. The one that you see up on the screen, that was after a tackle for loss in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. And then if you talk about Jaquiski Tartt highlights for the 49ers over the years, You can't forget the DK Metcalf strip against Seattle, Monday Night Football 2019, right? DK Metcalf looks like he's rumbling toward the end zone. Nobody could take him down. He's dragging guys with him. One of the guys that kind of gets attached there to DK Metcalf's back is Jaquiski Tartt, and he's Johnny on the spot, tenacious, rips that football out, falls across the goal line, ended up being a touchback, I believe, for the 49ers because he didn't get it in, full control until he was, right at that goal line, and it ended up saving a touchdown and kept the 49ers in that football game. They came all the way back, forced overtime, obviously lost that game against Seattle, but it definitely wasn't Jaquiski Tartt's fault. That was one of his career highlights for the 49ers. And just throughout, he, as I said, he was a great silent communicator on the back end. And that's something that the 49ers are going to have to replace. How are they going to do it? Well, Talanoa Hufanga, the second-year man out of USC, is currently the favorite to replace Jaquiski Tartt. We're going to open up the 49ers depth chart here that I have on Google Sheets. I'm going to copy and paste the chat section for you. For those of you watch live, as a reminder while I do this, if you're just coming into the room, why don't you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and why don't we pop this open, make it a bit bigger, check out what the safety position looks like for the 49ers. Hufanga, starting strong safety according to OTAs. He was taking all the first-team reps there alongside Jimmie Ward. Tarvarius Moore and George Odom are the two reserves. Now, stuff can change as we hit training camp, and I'm going to get here to some of the undrafted free agents who are on the roster bubble in a bit. But Kyle Shanahan, as of now, says the 49ers have 4 NFL players at the safety position. Ward, Hufanga, Odom, and Tarvarius Moore coming off of the Achilles injury. Hufanga has the inside track and had the inside track early over Odom, who played for the Colts last year, and Tarvarius Moore, who tore his Achilles in 2021 and missed the entire season just because he was part of the rotation last year. Training camp might see the pecking order change, or at least give guys like Odom and Moore a chance. But in all likelihood, the 49ers will continue to like Talanoa Hufanga's instinctiveness. He's a very instinctive player, enough to play that box safety role. Now, Odom is a good option. He didn't miss a single tackle in the box last season for the Colts. And when you talk about Jaquiski Tartt and his ability to dance through traffic, make those stops against the run within the context of the 49ers scheme, it's obviously a good trait for Odom. Tarvarius Moore put on some weight before the last time that we saw him on the field in 2020, right? He was playing big and strong. I still remember that game at New England that the 49ers won. Tarvarius Moore was hitting hard. He was bringing the thump across the field. And, he started his career as a cornerback for the 49ers, was a turf-eating safety in college. Then they moved him back to that safety role, played dime back in the Super Bowl. But that, bulkier frame that we saw Tarvarius Moore play with in 2020 leads me to believe that he can indeed play some strong safety for the 49ers. So they have options here. And if you go back to make this bigger and you look at some of the undrafted free agents for the 49ers, it is interesting. And that's undeniable in the secondary. You've got Leon O'Neal. I know he's a fan favorite when wearing the number 14 out there. He dropped an interception at practice. It wasn't an interception, just a toss and drills, and he was doing push-ups. I got that on video. People got all excited about that. Taylor Hawkins, former cornerback at San Diego State, is going to play safety in the NFL. And I have Qwuantrezz Knight here at safety, but Qwuantrezz is more of a cornerback, nickelback type, but probably can play anywhere. And these guys, if they're going to make the roster as undrafted free agents, they're going to have to show that type of versatility. So if you look at Hufanga and you look at Odom and you look at Tarvarius Moore, I think the bottom line is the 49ers have determined that they're comfortable moving forward with these guys, that Hufanga has enough seasoning, Moore has enough athleticism, Moore is sufficiently enough recovered from the Achilles, and Odom is experienced enough, one of the best special teams players in the league, to fill that strong safety role opposite Jimmie Ward. Now, speaking of that role opposite Jimmie Ward, the fact that Tartt's now gone, that means, well, it's an end of an era. And this was one of the cooler eras in the NFL. Jaquiski Tartt and Jimmie Ward, pictured here, together as 49ers, were high school teammates in Mobile, Alabama. How often do you see high school teammates, a safety duo, starting for the same high school, end up starting for the same NFL team? Very rare. Maybe this is the first time that it ever happened. But still notable. It was cool. You saw the chemistry between those two guys. The 49ers drafted Ward in 2014 and Tartt in 2015. So they were two of the longest tenured 49ers. In fact, Ward is the longest tenured 49er. He's obviously still with the team, and this is an end of an era with Tartt headed to the Eagles. I know a lot of fans are going to look at this negatively because they're still bitter that Tartt dropped that interception against the Rams in the NFC title game. And yes, if Tartt holds on to that would-be interception of Matt Stafford in the NFC title game, the 49ers likely win. They likely go to the Super Bowl. Maybe they win the Super Bowl, but it's one play. And Jaquiski Tartt did a whole lot of good, not only across the time of his 7 years for the 49ers, but also in that game to get the 49ers in position to win. And no player is going to be perfect. Doesn't matter who you are. So I think a lot of that criticism, it's okay to be frustrated. That's part of being a sports fan. And obviously, Tartt has to make that play. And he's the first one to beat himself up over it. But to only look at that one play in a vacuum and say, oh, good riddance, thank God he's gone, it ignores the fact that he put in 7 good years for the 49ers. He made the young guys better. He lasted through several regimes, from Tom Sula to Chip Kelly, now through Kyle Shanahan. You got to give him credit. He did some good stuff for the 49ers. He was good on the back end. He was a model DB as far as communication in the room. And Richard Sherman loved the guy. And Richard Sherman, I think, was a good evaluator of talent for the 49ers secondary. So they'll move forward with Talanoa Hufanga there on the back end. George Odom, Tarvarius Moore, all in the mix. We'll see what else the 49ers do, and we'll see what you do. I think you guys should subscribe to the channel. Maybe I look at a couple questions, but hell no. I'm in Mexico right now. Time for me to go back down to the pool, get a couple drinks, get ready for this wedding party a little bit later tonight. So you got to like the channel. You got to like the video. You got to sub to the channel. I'm coming live from Mexico. This is vacation right now. No vacation here, though. We're going to continue covering the 49ers through the dog days of summer. It's June 18th, training camp coming on July 29th. All right, everybody, take care. Thank you for joining today. Have a great Saturday. We'll talk to you all soon. Another video is going to be dropping from Mexico. Another few are going to be coming from here. So talk to you guys later.